Well, welcome to episode number 46 of our Move the Needle podcast, quickly embarking on episode 50. How are you, Steve?
Very well. Excited to be here. I'm excited that we're wrapping up our first year.
I know.
Really.
We've got
Amazing.
some exciting news to share in today's
Yes.
episode. Before we get to this show with Kline, with Erika, with Miriam, Uriarte, we just want to say thank you to Brooklyn V's, Darwin Wall Real Estate, and the Tutor Doctor. Do us a favor. Watch these, and then when we come back, we're going to sit down with the president.
At Brooklyn V's, we bring the taste of Brooklyn right here to Arizona. Our family's been serving up real Italian food for generations, and every dish is made with love, just like Nonna used to make. From classic spaghetti and meatballs to layers of cheesy lasagna, stuffed shells, and the best New York-style pizza in town. Every bite is pure Italian comfort. And if you haven't tried our world-famous cheesecake, well, you're missing out. It's been rated one of the best in the area, and once you taste it, you'll know why. So come hungry, leave happy, and enjoy a little slice of Brooklyn right here in Arizona.
Howdy, this luxury home will blow your mind. Watch until the end to see a feature that your dog will write you a thank you note for, if they could. Spoil your pup in style with this custom-made dog wash.
Well, this is it. Episode number 46 of our Move the Needle podcast from Craft 64.
We love being here. Either here, Chandler here today, Scottsdale, another day. Love being here.
Yeah. We mentioned that we've got some exciting news to share. And before we bring in our first guest today, the president, I want to say thanks to everybody, all 7,000 subscribers of our show.
Near 7,000 subscribers.
And we are about to tip the scales at 100,000 views.
Tipped them
We
over.
tipped 'em.
We did. So
See this?
very exciting.
It's very exciting, man.
So thank you to everybody.
Exactly that. Thanks to everybody for being a part of that and for spreading the word. And, you know, what we're trying to do here at Move the Needle is be that hyper-local YouTube and podcast series that people can count on to find out what the neighbors in their backyard are doing.
Meet the people at the supermarket they see. Reach out and touch them instead of seeing them some from afar. It's really nice.
Right. Well, our first guest is the president. And the president of what? We'll ask him about that. His name is Kline, and we have a couple of things in common. We both did some hard time in Washington, D.C. Maybe that stuff will come up, but welcome to the show, Chris. How are you?
It's great to be here.
So the president of what? Because this is new-ish in the last, how many?
Couple of years.
Couple of years. Talk to us about this.
So I have the pleasure of leading two companies. They're both nonprofits. One is the Arizona Media Association, and one is the Arizona Local News Foundation. So what's the difference and what do they do?
Yeah.
Media Association is kind of a new cooked-up group that represents about 400 media brands in the state. It's the
Holy
trade
smokes.
association that looks out for past, present, future, the local TV stations, radio stations, newspapers, and all the digital startups, including podcasts like this one,
Really?
that are trying to navigate the world of community connection. Then we got this Arizona Local News Foundation, and the way I describe the two organizations is that the association's looking to support these brands, help them evolve, figure out the future of the world. The foundation's for you and me as residents and citizens of the state. The foundation's about figuring out how do we connect people with more access to news and information in this changing Arizona that we all live in. So that is a big task that is hard. We have some great momentum, and we can talk about that if you want. And then the association is bringing everybody together to figure out, in this crowded marketplace, how in the world do we cut through the clutter?
Man, what a great guest for us to have on our podcast.
It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, and that must be, it's kind of my first question, right? Because I come from a long history of traditional broadcast medium. You know, you have the big three. You have the newspaper, you have the television, you have the radio. And that's not the case anymore. The landscape has completely changed. And now you got juggernauts like Move the Needle podcasts that are jamming into the market. And that's changing the landscape a little bit. So could you talk to us first a little bit about traditional media.
Yeah.
How are they? What are they these days to people?
So all of our habits have changed. Doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are.
Right.
What is so fascinating about the world we live in is that your habits are different than your kids' habits, which are different than your parents' habits. And generationally speaking, those habits are probably going to stay different. Technology changes so fast that we've moved away, to your point, from this world where everybody consumes content from the same places. It's led to, I would argue, some of the challenges we face in society because we don't all have single sources of truth and information.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right? But as it relates to, right, the traditional TV stations or radio stations or newspapers, they're still, in many cases, doing really well. They're just more niche than they used to be. Some of them are highly successful because they focus on that community connection. Some are struggling because the business models have evolved and changed. But the reality that everyone lives under is that if you want to connect with audiences in the world today, you got to have a good product, you got to have scale, and you have to connect with the folks around you. And that's what I'm really proud about local media has the potential to do when done right. And we're kind of at this inflection point where everyone's having to take a hard look in the mirror and say, am I still doing that? And if
Right.
I'm not, then what am I going to change in order to make sure that I can still make sure that the community I serve has access to some shared source of fun, of information, of news, of whatever it is?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hit 'em.
Well, I'm somebody that's lived that transition. You know, being in traditional media, I spoke to you a little bit about that. Being in the traditional print media for nearly 30 years, and then really coming into this arena, I've seen the evolution. And Chris, you're exactly right. It thrives in niche situations, still traditional media, shockingly so. People still getting a lot of record numbers in that. However, what we found is you have to expand into these areas and bring this into if you're going to survive in that arena with your social media and other means of getting out there. Pretty much social media, really, that is. And integrating that.
I would tell you one of the things that's been really interesting to watch in media over the past couple of years is a lot of what's old is new again. And what I mean by that is, let's start with television. Some folks listening and watching might remember the term antenna ears, rabbit ears.
Yes.
A lot of folks don't know what an antenna is.
Right.
And in this inflationary time over the past couple of years, and now in moments where people are watching their pocketbooks, we have year after year seen resurgences in people ditching cable, but then going to Best Buy or Amazon and getting
Picking up
some
that
rabbit
digital
ear
antenna.
antennas.
Yeah.
That is so
and
cool. I love
watching
hearing
free
that.
local TV, or with newspapers, community newspapers that specifically hyper-serve a neighborhood or a part of the valley or a part of the state. Those are starting to thrive again in a world where people feel disconnected. And then I throw radio into the mix as a piece of that too, because there's something tangible about a free, ubiquitous product that remains in just about every vehicle on planet Earth,
Right.
and follows you even when your cell phone signal goes down and you're in the mountains or you're in just a dead zone. So that is an opportunity that radio is navigating. At the same time, you got all the digital startups, the podcasts, the YouTube streams that are trying to find their own niche in new and interesting ways.
Golly, it is such a changing landscape. And as a guy, I mean, both of us spent our whole adult life in traditional media. And I will tell you, based on something you just said, the only newspaper that I ever open up is my little Ahwatukee Foothills newspaper.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the only paper that I ever read. And I'm always excited when I go to like Ariba's to pick it up, and I'll leaf through it during lunch, and I read through all the articles.
used to read mine as well. So.
And I used to read the Stroll magazine, of course.
That's for sure.
of
Throw a little
course.
plug in there for sure.
But yeah, and personally, I don't find myself diving into a lot of YouTube content.
Sure.
Although this is a YouTube series, I find myself engaged in a lot of podcast content these days. That's been something that's shifted for me over the years. Where do you see podcasts?
Yeah. So a line I use a lot these days, and that I hear a lot of our media partners saying, is that the most relevant content today is the content that's closest to the audience. Meaning, if you can be hyper-local, if you can tell me something that affects my life, that makes me happier, that helps me do something this weekend, that helps me make money, those things win in ways that never were the case before, because we're flooded with information, right?
Sure.
From the moment we wake up till the moment we go to bed, it's not just how much content or how much time am I spending with my phone or my TV or my watch or my Oura Ring. It's in tandem. At the same time, how many different devices can I possibly be consuming content from at the same time? And it is exhausting,
Yeah.
which is where I keep coming back to relevance, local. And with so many podcasts and so many YouTube streams out there, the ones we see working are the ones that either take advantage of an untapped need or that just do the best job at feeling super local to life.
Right.
Well, I can't wait to get your feedback about this experience, because what you've explained is really what we've talked.
Why we
Mathew
started it.
and Max as well, as in the soup kitchen. Really,
Shout out to Max.
Yeah, shout out to Max here. We're all involved, and Jen, our creative director, as well. We govern our podcast the same way. We are looking for these hyper local stories that people want, and they're giving us the feedback. Hence, 1 + 1. I say 1 + 1 = 2. Why we started the podcast saying that's why we have the viewers. People want to dial in. They want to see what the goodness that their neighbors are doing. There's so much, and this is my opinion too. When you're speaking about podcasts and YouTube, I'm the same way, Mathew and Chris. I don't follow that many. I think there's a lot of garbage out there. Just my opinion. A lot of people with a lot of hype. They're kind of saying the same things. We kind of know where they go with the same things, with their innuendo, whether it's sex or their comedy, and it's fine. There's entertainment, but I think there's so much more room for relevant content. And you talked about that, and I want you to elaborate that more. The relevant content that people like Mathew, myself, and others can really get out there that people are missing.
So let me throw you another stat that will take this in a slightly different direction, but totally aligned with this. We do an annual media study. We hire a company out of LA to come in and do a statistical representation of how Arizona media consumption is changing year by year. How are people using TV, radio, print, digital?
Yeah.
And we've started to ask questions around trust. Right? We live in a world where trust is hard to find just about from anywhere. But the stat that gives me the most hope is that when you look at national news trust, when you look at cable news trust, when you look at anything outside of our home base, the levels are so low it's scary, right? As low as Congress or lower.
Right.
But when you bring it home and you talk about the type of trust that people still have in local media, their neighbors, their friends, the people they see when they're going out to dinner, the number year after year is still above 80%.
Wow.
Even in 2025. There's a caution there because that number can erode if it's not treated well and given care and nurtured, but it creates this really unique opportunity for podcasts like this, for community newspapers, for evolving TV stations and radio stations to figure out how they embrace that trust.
Can I ask you a question? What are some of the components of trust? I'm sure you dive deeper. It's not just do you trust us, but it's why do you trust us? Do you have some feedback on that?
Yep. So trust is everything from are you somebody who doesn't have a political bias you're trying to put out on me?
Okay.
To do you understand what I'm going through? Do you relate to me? To have I physically seen you before? Are you an AI bot, or are you a real human that might actually live in my community?
A lot of people don't know this. Steve is actually an AI bot.
Yeah, they've created. I was created.
very
I was
well.
cloned. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
It's a much better version than the old one. So
Yeah.
I must say, thank you.
There you
Steve
go.
GPT.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Love it.
Yeah,
boy.
okay,
Coming
what
soon.
So it's really about, it's kind of never changed, isn't it? It's like, are you one of me?
Yep.
Do you speak my language? Are you my neighbor?
It's just harder than it ever was before because there are so many more competing media platforms out there and so much competing time for our attention.
What do you guys talk about at these meetings at the Arizona Local News Foundation?
Yeah, this is where I think the most community opportunity that we're involved in is right now.
Okay.
And I say that because I'll give you another stat. In Arizona today, there's less than 1,000 journalists. That's Phoenix, Tucson, Yuma, all across northern Arizona, and you can probably imagine, just not even living in this business, that there were a lot more a couple of years ago and a couple of years before that. So what we are spending our time thinking about is how can we help support more trust, more relevant local news, more solutions-focused content and discussions. And I actually got a success story to tell you.
Let's go.
Love it.
So we
Cue the music, Max.
we last fall, I love
Yeah, I
it.
know.
We last fall went out and started talking to philanthropic groups,
Okay.
Local foundations, community leaders, saying we want to figure out a way to change the narrative and have more community conversation about big issues facing the future of Arizona.
Okay.
Not just the clickbait, not just the crime of the
Yeah,
moment.
immigration,
right?
da-da-da-da-da,
The
right, right.
solutions-focused conversations. And as we started talking to those folks, the place where everybody wanted to start was education.
Really?
So we went out and were able to raise, in just a couple of months' time, over $2 million. And with that $2 million, we have started funding new journalists in newsrooms all across the state. These newsrooms apply for this funding, and those journalists, once hired, have one requirement and one goal, and that is they do nothing but talk about and report on education solutions in Arizona. They don't go cover the breaking news. They don't go cover the clickbait. They don't fill in when somebody's out sick. The whole purpose is we want to flood the market with more conversation and dialogue and discussion about things that will help move Arizona forward, that will move the needle.
Yeah,
Love
right,
that.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
education.
brilliant.
And really, it makes sense because the conversation seems to always circle back to that education and kids. Like, I mean, really, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I mean, really, it does. I mean, that's where's our future? Everyone's trying to, again, like, yeah, push that forward.
And it may
change
not stop there, right?
Right.
Education's where we started
Right.
because you could argue it's critical infrastructure for our future.
Yes,
I
it
think
makes
so,
sense. Absolutely.
You could easily do the same thing for health. You
Oh,
could do
yeah.
the same thing for water.
You're
you
right.
could do the same thing for the economy or homelessness. And our goal and hope is that as we launch this and build this, and as we talk about it on podcasts like this, that it encourages more partners, more collaborators, more philanthropists to come in and say, oh my gosh, this state has this coalition of 400 media brands that are not competing but working together. And oh, by the way, it's everyone in the media space. And now they have this foundation that has a track record of finding ways to move us past that vitriolic sets of conversations, those clickbait style moments, and instead invest in the things that at the end of the day, when we talk about that localism, bring us back to what's going to change my life. Well, changing my life might mean knowing about the 529 tax savings plan that is already available in Arizona, or understanding why there's so much debate about public schools versus charter schools or ESAs, or even just understanding when I go to a ballot box, we don't want to get political, but we want to make sure folks understand what's on the ballot and why they might vote yes or why they might vote no.
They need to
so
work on that.
they
That's super
are empowered.
confusing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
It's
I think there's a
hard.
few people in the marketplace that do a great job with it. Like, who is it? The community, not the community council. Oh, there's the Corporation Commission.
Yeah.
They do a great job with that handbook that comes out every voting series. It's just,
Yeah.
here's the people,
You gotta
here's
read
the
it.
issues.
You do have
and you
to
got to
read
read
it.
it,
You
right?
do.
But I mean, I do, and that's how I vote.
But if you don't read it, because the way the wording is can definitely confuse you.
Oh,
There's
for sure.
no
and,
doubt
and
about
it's
that.
Not,
You gotta.
and it's not light reading, right?
Right.
I don't understand all the words, but it gives me a good idea. But you're right. I think we need more people reporting on the things that people actually. Let me say, I don't want to say actually care about the things that actually impact our lives.
Impact. I love that word. And I
Yeah.
think the only way it works is not if we do it with one brand or one podcast or one TV station, but we got to scale it. Scale
Okay.
is the only path forward, as far as I'm concerned, to this fragmented future.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't see a world that we're moving into where everybody's going to come back and rally behind one or two or three media brands. So if that's the case, then we need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to tell stories independently in a nonpartisan, fact-based way in as many places as possible, and to
Okay.
move
That-
away from that clickbait.
That's us, and when we're ready to move, you'll be somebody that we're going to be talking to, and we expand within Arizona because we have a roadmap for that, expanding this footprint into other communities as well.
Well,
So we're excited
you are
about
a
that.
model of I think what we stand for and what
Thank
we're trying
you.
to build, and
Appreciate
it's an evolving community that we're
Sure is.
serving, right? But that makes it fun and hard and interesting all at the same time.
What do you guys talk about in the meetings that you have with the Arizona Media Association? Just
Yeah.
to kind of double up on that.
Yeah.
Sure. We talk a lot about, for TV and radio stations, FCC regulations. I
Oh,
know this
super
is a
exciting
dry
stuff. Yeah, yeah,
subject,
yeah.
but I can boil it down to as simple as understandably, if you work in a local TV or radio station today, your biggest competitor isn't the TV station or the radio station.
Right.
It's the internet.
For sure.
It's social media. And these TV and radio stations still live in a world where they have all of these rules, and Congress hasn't yet figured out how to regulate digital. So there's some shackles on our local media brands that these conglomerates that
Things
are
we
the biggest
can't do.
organizations in the world
Makes sense.
have no rules on. We're trying to figure out and advocate, how do we level that playing field?
Right.
And then for our print brands, we spend a lot of time talking about just innovative ways to reinvent community-focused journalism, how to scale back up, how to take advantage of digital technologies, how to figure out memberships, what are people willing to pay for and not willing to pay for. Historically, people haven't wanted to pay for news. They haven't wanted to pay much for music. And so trying to figure out how that world evolves is a big focus of conversation, because this local media world only works if there's a business model to support it.
Yeah, that's so
Absolutely.
fascinating. I remember being in the first meeting that I was in where I started to go like, I don't know if radio's for me any longer. I was in with the program director, and we spent more time talking about what we were putting on social media than what
Yeah.
we were putting on the air.
Yeah.
And I just remembered in that moment going, I don't think this is for me anymore. I want to ask you about ad revenue. I mean, obviously, shows like us, right? Like we can't do this without Brooklyn V's, Darwin Well Real Estate, Tutor Doctor,
others
and a slew
coming
of
on
others,
board,
right?
yeah.
That are a part of us. What's ad revenue look like right now for media organizations?
Yeah, it all comes back to the things we started talking about. The brands that have figured out this connection and have continued to keep audiences engaged, they can still do just fine.
Yeah.
The challenge is there's only so much bandwidth to go around.
Sure.
And on the ad revenue standpoint, if you're a business owner watching or listening, and you're trying to figure out how do I tell my story to the world, you now have so many ways to do that.
right.
It's overwhelming to the business owner in the same way it's overwhelming to the local media brands trying to raise the flag and say, sure, you can give your money to Google in San Francisco and they'll help you tell your story, but we're the local folks that are in your community that are trying to invest in our shared future. It's not like Google has journalists or sales folks that are living and breathing in Phoenix or Tucson or Yuma. In the same way that these local media brands are. So we tell them, embrace the localism, double down on community events, double down on sponsorships, find ways to make sure that you live and breathe and ooze whatever it is that you serve.
Well, that's where the money is coming from, Chris, right? That's where their revenue is coming from, is their local community, right?
Yep.
These are the people who support them. So it makes a lot more sense to keep it within, keep it local. I mean, it really just, it does. It's helping the whole flow.
I would say yes and no, Steve, because there's a lot of money to be made with national dollars, right? There's a little less money to be made with local dollars, at least in the radio field that I came from 28 years, right?
Yes and no. When we're talking about kind of in the bigger sense, yes. And here's where I would challenge you, is on this hyper-local sense, no. It doesn't, people...
Sure.
people
we're not looking for Lowe's to advertise
hyper-local
with us,
people,
right.
exactly. They're looking for here. They're looking for people in Chandler,
For sure.
Gilbert, and these communities. I've got a business question for Chris, because he's
Then
also...
we got to kind of wrap up with them. So,
Yeah. And because you've oversaw this merger, Chris,
Yeah.
between these two large organizations, what challenges for our audience did you find and overcome, and maybe something
None,
quirky?
Steve. It was so easy.
Oh my gosh.
Easy peasy, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's the challenge that we all face in life, right? Everybody, God knows I do too, has an ego. Everybody has a self-interest, and we had to have everybody take a deep breath and say, gosh, we may be competitors, but we're also stronger when we have a big umbrella coalition working towards a common cause. It don't mean it's easy, and my goodness, it's hard, but once we got over that first hump, everything has been so much easier because we've seen the fruits of the labors. I'll give you one quick example as you wrap. Last year, 2024, we were able to bring, for the first time, I believe in state history, all of these media brands together to simulcast political debates about the biggest races affecting our future. There are things we can do better in 2026. There are lessons that we learned. But prior to that, you were lucky if one TV station picked up a debate for your congressional race or
Couldn't
for
find it, yeah.
a proposition. And
True.
we now have a world because of this coalition where we can preach from the mountaintops and put it on every TV station, every radio station, every digital startup brand, and then make sure there's a story in the newspaper the next day. And I think that's the type of shared collaborative model that I'm hoping we move towards as a state. respecting the individuality of each brand, but finding ways to come together to focus back on localism.
Yeah,
I could spend a whole day with this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I love what you're talking about. I mean, obviously, we're both been embedded in
We
our
are in
whole
this.
lives,
Yeah,
and
we're in the mix.
Still are. So
Yeah.
it's so
Love it.
fascinating.
And
man.
it affects everybody. The three of us may live in this space, but you don't have to be in local media to know and see how this touches life. And I think that's
sure.
what makes me so passionate about this world, because it can make a difference. It can change the world for the better. And it also has risks if we do it wrong, which is why it's so important.
That's why we got to do it right, and that's the name of the game. Keeping it local. People who know each other, people who you know. You know, again, like this is super special. You know, your message that you're putting out to our audience, Chris. I've been longing for this. Get this message out, because again, like the landscape is changing so much that I think you've given a lot of information today and cleared the air on a lot of things. I'm going to say that.
And to use the line for your podcast, the whole goal is we got to move the needle, and we got to keep pushing and keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because there's no such thing as going too far in a world like this.
Well, I'm not going to let you go without one of my bonus questions.
Here we go. Get ready,
so
man.
Roll up your sleeves for this one.
You never know where this is going to go.
Chris, you're hosting a reality show called Survivor, the local news edition.
Oh, crap. Who do you fire first?
What wild challenges would contestants face, and what kind of person would get voted off the newsroom first?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, I'm not going to use names, because that would put
Right.
me in incredibly hot water.
But we know who. Okay.
Yes.
Kaylee O'Kelly.
No,
I'm just saying.
I
I'm
love
just
Kaylee.
kidding.
Love her.
We do too. She's one of our favorites. She's been on the pod.
Yeah. I bet you that we would have a lot of personalities.
Okay.
I bet you we would have some strong opinions that would push the envelope, and perhaps more color than you're used to seeing on television or radio might come out in ways that would create fireworks. Just absolute fireworks. That's my tease without putting myself in hot water.
And who gets booted off first? And you could see the face. Who gets booted off, or which type of person gets off?
It's probably one of the television anchors.
Okay. And how do they? What type of? How do they act that gets them really booted off?
Well, I'm going to leave that to everyone's imagination.
Okay.
I think they're selfish.
I like that.
That's what
Yeah.
it is. Their ego gets in the way of something bigger.
There we go.
There it is.
Anchorman. Okay.
All right, listen.
Got you.
Every day we challenge
that.
people to do as Chris does. Keep your eyes on what's ahead. Carefully bridge the past and the future. Communicate honestly and candidly. And if you can do that, you might just be the president one day.
I think you just pulled that from my LinkedIn profile.
I believe I
Yes,
did.
I love that.
The Arizona Media Association and the Arizona Local News Foundation. Its president is Chris Kline. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
being on
My
our pod,
pleasure.
man.
Thanks, Chris. It was
Yeah.
amazing. Really inspirational for us.
Yeah, I love that. All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to sit down with Miriam. Hang on one second.
Hi, I'm Kim Selchin, owner of Tutor Doctor of Ahwatukee, Chandler, and Gilbert. We understand every student is unique, which is why we meet them where they feel most at ease, whether online, at home, or in a public space. Our academic coaching is designed to help even the brightest students overcome organizational challenges, sharpen study skills, and build confidence, empowering them to achieve their best. From kindergarten to adult, we believe every student can be successful. We also have expert SAT and ACT coaches to help teens with college admissions and scholarships. I'm excited to learn how we can partner with your family to help today's learners become tomorrow's successful adults.
Well, welcome back to episode number 46 of our Move the Needle podcast, and special thanks to Craft 64 for hosting us once again.
It's smelling good. I can't. I don't anticipate the show ending that much, because I love what we do. But boy, oh boy, it smells good. And I always get a pie afterwards.
You always get a pie after.
I do.
You're always into that.
I'm a pizza. Yeah, I'm a pizza guy. You know.
Yeah,
I am. And
their pizza's good
Their
here.
pizza is very good.
Well, let's bring in our next
Yes.
dynamic guest, Miriam Uriarte.
Is that how we pronounce
joining
it?
us.
Yeah, Miriam Uriarte.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
love that.
And she's maybe the best smelling guest that we've ever had. She's wearing a perfume that is just intoxicating.
I showered, y'all.
Is that right? Is that all it takes? I got to try that one of these days.
Yeah, it turns out.
She describes herself as an intuitive and witty entrepreneur with extensive expertise in trauma, mental health, coaching, and spiritual growth. You just mentioned one of my favorite words a second ago, in somatic healing.
Yes.
It's something that I'm a big believer in, because, you know, when we go through life and we get dinged up and stuff, that stuff stores
Yes.
deeply in our cells,
Yes.
and somatic healing can be something for many, many folks who, can feel much better about it. Lean in nice and close to that microphone. How long have you been into this work, Miriam?
So I actually started out in mental health. I was a counselor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
How long did you do that?
So I started in 2010.
Okay.
When I graduated from counseling.
ASU?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I continued all the way until about 2018. I started my own practice, and I knew that something was off, and I needed to kind of venture away into something more practical after doing my own work, realizing there's other tools that we can use. And I was in a world of pathology, which is just diagnosing and kind of like sitting in that model, which is a little bit old now, 50 to 60 years behind the science. And so began to do somatic work. And even though in therapy we say that we're working on the body, but we're not,
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of rethinking, a lot of, redirecting thoughts. And so, since 2010, so maybe 15 years.
Yeah. Do you want us to
Yeah,
define?
I want to call a
Yeah,
time out here.
time out, right.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Sorry about that.
You're very much into it.
I know.
For our audience.
Okay,
What is
okay.
this? Somatic?
Somatic healing.
Somatic healing.
Yeah, there's
let's
somatic
let's start
breathwork,
there.
somatic healing.
Okay.
What is
Yeah,
that? What does
go for it.
somatic even mean?
So somatic is healing through the body.
Okay.
It's just I like to simplify things, right? But just listening to the body and allowing the body to release whatever trauma it has inside. And a lot of people think that we have to sit there and dig deep. And the truth is you don't always have to. There's so many practices out there that you can just let the body tell you what it needs and you release it, right? And so sometimes, for example, when you work out, have you ever lifted and then started shaking?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
your
body releasing.
Yeah, your body's telling you it's a little too much, but yet you're like, hey, I can handle this. So you continue because you're breaking the muscle and allowing the body to build that muscle, right? So you rip it, get oxygen and all the good things, and then the next thing you're a little bit sore. You maybe got a little lactic acid, but it's good, right?
Right.
But let's just say you heard a shooting. I know that's extreme. I know.
It's okay.
I went there.
People have experienced it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear it, or like my dog when he hears fireworks.
Oh yeah.
He like tenses up and just goes home, and then he shakes it off, right? That is, he's releasing immediately. But us as humans, we learn to hold it in, and we keep it in, and we keep it in. And so what it does is pretty soon we have too much built up in our body. Our body's just kind of telling us, hey, if you don't let go, I have no more capacity. And
I'll send you a sore neck. I'll send you a sore knee. I'll send you a
Yes.
sore hip. I'll send you a sore back. I'll send you panic attacks. I'll send you
Yes.
shingles. I'll send you cancer.
No sleep.
I'll send you. No, like it's bigger than no sleep,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
literally, this stuff that we're hanging on to in our bodies is what is causing our disease.
Absolutely.
And people like her are the ones who help folks go. I love this analogy about shaking at the gym, because so many people will go to the gym and they'll lift heavy because they know why. Because I'm going to do this and I'm going to look different.
Right.
But if you would just do the same thing with the mental health, not your physical health, yes, it might be hard for a second.
Yeah.
You might shake like crazy.
Yeah.
You might be sore for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, but on the other side of it, you're feeling much better about yourself.
Yes, and the truth is, what's funny is like there's a huge movement, right? That we don't have to feel or think, But the truth is, because there's this positive movement. You got to just be positive.
Yeah.
But there's a little consequences to that, because you're depriving and almost self-abandoning the parts that your body's really telling you. Especially in the Western world, we talk about Christianity, right? Other countries have different ways, but they all say the same thing: the body is a temple, right? And then but then how can it be the temple if we're ignoring it, right? If we're not really listening to it. And so the body's constantly giving us information. And it doesn't mean we have to sit with our body and our emotions for hours. Actually, science shows that it takes 90 seconds for a feeling to come in and feel it all through, and then it kind of releases. It's not here to stay. But the minute that we don't acknowledge it, right, it stays in our body, and now it's wreaking havoc, right? Now I'm bloated because I'm hiding things, right, that I'm not meant to be hiding. And so, when we were kids, we were born feeling all the things, and we would cry instantly when things would happen, and then someone taught us it's not okay.
Hold it in.
Yeah. So stop crying, you're a man, right? My son was like 6 years old or maybe younger, and I remember he was afraid of the dark, and my ex-husband told him, like, man up. I'm like, he can't man up, he's 5.
He's 5 years old.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not a man yet, but it began to teach him little by little that he had to hold on to his
Tough
feelings.
skin, thicken your skin up.
Yeah, and even at his kindergartner class, or maybe he was first grade, the principal saw him crying in the hall one day. Stop crying, you're gonna be embarrassed. No. So I had to go in there and be like, excuse me, he's not embarrassed, you are. Let's make this clear.
Yeah. This is uncomfortable for you, not him. Right?
Yeah, he is learning to do what is natural for him.
Right.
You know, and so one of the things that he does now that I just admire about him, and I didn't teach him this, is he wakes up first thing in the morning, he goes get some sun rays, and he does it on his own, and then he'll do breath work, sometimes he'll meditate, and then he'll play his guitar. And he's 17.
Amazing.
And that's I just told you 4 exercises that you can do to regulate your vagus tone and your nervous system. And, you know, he's an athlete, so he's a wrestler. So he naturally learned that he needed to regulate his emotions. And as men, you're not taught to sit with your emotions. So what does he do is he sits with his body, right? And man, have I seen him like just grow. And I'd like to take credit, but you know, he did it on his own.
There was some guidance
Yeah,
taking
for
place
sure.
there, you know. This is fascinating to me, and I always remember the first time I learned about this. To use a dog example, like we've all seen a dog, and when it gets into a situation, it just shakes. You've seen this before, Steve?
Oh, yeah.
That's the dog doing its natural somatic healing.
Yes.
It's in that moment. It's just shaking it loose,
Yeah.
so to speak. And then what I love about the healing process these days is there's so many modalities out there. There's liable to be one that really, really works for you.
Yes.
And so maybe shine some light on other things that you do that
Yes.
aren't somatic healing.
In my practice?
Sure.
Oh, yeah. So even though I do a lot of breath work, obviously, which is still somatic work, but to allow the body to release some trauma, even if we name it or not. But I do have this new practice called MEMI, which is multi-channel eye movement integration.
Oh.
And it kind of, I don't know if you've heard of EMDR.
Oh, yeah. MEMI. Right.
Yeah, the eye movement, it's called eye movement, EMDR, eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And
Okay.
so it's similar that you do eye movements, but what's different about this is you're hitting all 5 senses, right? And you're asking your brain to visit an event or a feeling or a theme in your life where you're asking your subconscious to bring it up to the conscious level. And what we do is in 4 to 5 sets, we just visit that over, kind of like a movie. You visit it over and over again, and you find out how your brain. So when you go to your left brain, this is your past, and then when you move your eyes to the right, it's the future, right? And so then this is the visual past, visual future, audible past, audible future, and then self-talk, and then emotions. So when we're moving the eyes back and forth, you're asking your brain, it's called bilateral stimulation. You're inviting your brain to bilaterally communicate the future and the past together.
Super
right?
cool.
So when you look at the future, if you look right now to your right, what do you see?
I see a Miriam.
Good.
Yes, but it kind of puts your brain at blank because there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but when you go up here, you can see a lot of things, like you can think of thoughts, feelings, whatever. Like, but so we're inviting your brain to go left and right so that it can communicate to you something new. Right. So you do this in your sleep. We call it rapid eye movement, REM. Right. So when you're REMing, you're sleeping, and you're going deep in your sleep, and your brain. I don't know if you have kids, you see their eyes moving. You know.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you're
If
like,
you watch them sleep.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the download of the computer, right? It's upgrading. So it's really trying to solve things on its own at night that it wasn't able to do. So when you actually ask it to do it in your waking hours, you're asking it to bring it up And it's really cool because I've seen clients, sometimes they get a smell of something. Like I remember a client found her husband's best friend had passed away, and she could smell the blood. And so for the first time after like 5 years, she was able to regulate and desensitize that smell, right? Others clients begin to fade the picture, right? The picture is no longer boom in your face. It kind of begins to, and it's really nice to see the results right away.
I want to ask, and then jump in, please.
No,
but
go
ahead.
I want to, you've used this word a few times, trauma, and I think a lot of us, and listen, there's a bit of a mental health awareness and awakening that's taking place right now. But what I want to really emphasize for our audience here on Move the Needle is, they have what psychologists call the big T's and the little T's, right?
Yes.
There's big traumas, which would be like real serious, catastrophic things that happen to you on the way up: sexual abuse, domestic violence, addiction, some of these bigger themes, right? But then there's these little T's, right? Little traumas like, my boss was a real meathead to me, and that impacted me in a way. Or when I was in 7th grade, a boy broke up with me, and now I made all this meaning about who I am and what I'm about.
Yes.
And so I just felt like I wanted to say to folks, this kind of healing that she's talking about is not just for the big grand things,
Yes.
right? It's got a place for divorce. It's got a place
Yes.
for I just got fired. It's got a place for I just lost my house. It's got a place for I just lost my dog.
Yes.
It's got a place for
Yes.
all of these little things that happen to us that do impact us.
Yes, and the truth is there's something even deeper, is that everyone thinks that the big T's are actually what what we see the most. That's only 20% of the clients that we see, because what we learn is the environment. If the environment is safe, most people can go on with their big T's and go do well. But then it's the little T's that are called environmental stressors. You have a chaotic environment in your home, or there's a hostile environment in your marriage, or things that we don't talk about.
Alcoholism.
Huh? Yes.
Alcoholism.
Addiction, yeah.
So many
Addiction.
things that are people call little T's, but they're actually environmental, which are bigger. And we see 70% or more of our clients are little T's.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, Steve, give her something juicy.
Oh, yes.
Well, I was, my question really, I was reading about that eye movement techniques
Oh, yeah.
and how it rewires your brain. And a question on this, like, if your brain had a reset button, what's one common harmful belief or pattern you wish everyone could erase instantly?
Like a belief?
Like, like a harmful belief, if you could hit the reset button.
I'm not enough.
I'm not enough.
Make it.
It's funny. This is kind of common. We've heard that before.
Yeah.
Similar type of things.
It's
right?
because it impacts
Yeah.
everybody at this
self-worth.
table.
It's self-worth.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
It's really.
Yeah.
And
I'm
it
not-
happens in
I'm
these
not
little
worthy.
micro doses, right?
Yes.
Like, it doesn't happen full time for almost everybody, but it happens in that moment where, should I go for this job?
Yes.
Should I ask this person out? Should I adopt this?
Can I talk in a
Please.
podcast?
Yeah, right. Can I jump on a podcast and do these things? And that's where it infiltrates people. And that's why I love that we're having this
Yeah.
conversation for people, because so let's build on this. How are you coaching and helping people through your expertise become enough? What do
Yes.
they need to hear?
So I do a lot. So I do like what we call the inner parts, right? So we do the inner child parts. And my experience with myself was I did have a big T, right? I was sexually abused at a very young age, starting at 6. And I didn't know what age it started, obviously, because you suppress it, you store it, and you hide it. And so what I learned is just talking about it was like, heck no, I'm not talking about this. It's just not comfortable. Especially as a child, it felt uncomfortable, right? So I needed something else. First of all, I needed to stabilize and learn that I was safe in my own body. Because that's the first thing, is people don't understand anxiety is just uncomfortness in your body. Your heart is beating fast. Your breathing is off, right? Because your lungs are, pumping blood in a different way. So what we want is be comfortable with your body first. Then your body's gonna learn how to communicate to you. So if you feel anxiety and that's telling you I'm not enough, actually when I sit with my clients and they breathe through that feeling of not enough, whether it was an experience or it when they feel it for 90 seconds, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes more, it moves out, and then they're like, oh yeah, I was just a kid. Like, what was I thinking? You know, and then their body informs them, and it immediately moves away and tells them something new.
Yeah.
Which I call that the Holy Spirit, right? The Holy Spirit is going to guide you and say, hey, you know what? There's something better inside you. You weren't meant to be not feeling enough. And that's why, you know, but we have all these beliefs and experiences, and when we sit with those experiences, they kind of move and then bring. Also, memi is a big one that I use. When someone has stuck energy, I use memi. But I also have learned feminine and masculine communication.
Oh, fantastic. Walk us through that.
Yeah, I don't know if we even have enough time.
Oh, okay. Walk us through the highlights of
but
that.
yes, there's
Yeah,
so
the
much
bullet
there.
points.
Yeah. Well, because one of the things, like men, how do you normally want to, when a woman shares your feelings, what do you guys normally do?
Listen.
No, you don't. You
That
try to fix-
was the right answer,
You try
right?
to fix every
There you
situation.
go.
I know, but I know the right answer.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
So
Well,
the-
the truth is, there's times for both.
Right.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is that men were created to what? To problem solve and to fix it and to logicalize the feelings.
Hunter-gatherers. Hunters.
Yes.
Yeah, hunters.
And women, we were created to feel, right? Especially because we carry the baby. We need to make sure it's safe. So immediately when we feel threat, we want to protect it, right? And so we feel our body a little bit more. But yet we're in Western culture where it teaches us to think our way through life. And so we've been repressed on how to feel our feelings so that we can heal. And so what I'm learning now in couples, and especially when the man feels like, I'm just not enough. Well, it's just because, one, you can't handle her emotions, so you want to logicalize them, and instead feel them. And when a man feels her emotions, usually men don't feel them for too long, like not even 30 seconds max.
Right.
But you use your emotions to lead, to problem solve, right? To logicalize. And usually, like I always say, my man used to say, like, I don't want you to feel sad. Too late, babe. I'm already there.
I'm already sad.
And instead, allow me to feel them and validate them, even if I'm wrong, even if I used to say I become neurotic when I'm not validated. First of all, I have to validate my own feelings, but then sometimes I need someone to witness my feelings and validate them with me. Even if they're crazy, neurotic, they make no sense, right? And so
because they make sense to you.
Yeah, they make sense to me in the moment. But when I'm validated myself, and then I'm validated by someone else, I might then conclude something. Oh, you know what? That was stupid, right? Like I shouldn't have felt sad. I know you love me. I know you're not trying to hurt me. But most of the time, that not enoughness is we learn at a very young age as women to not feel our feelings because we're making our parents uncomfortable, because we're making the teachers uncomfortable, the principal, or a coach.
Right.
But then when we learn to feel them and validate them, we know that we're worthy enough to be feeling these feelings. You know, most of my clients tell me, especially if they're women, well, especially women, right? Like, I'm just too much. And so therefore I'm not enough, right? I'm just too much. My emotions are too much. And I'm like, no, this is actually called woman.
Yeah.
Welcome to womanhood. And if a man can understand that it's okay for her to feel that, that means nothing about you. It's everything that her body's experiencing has nothing to do with you fixing it or not, but can you feel her? Can you allow her to feel her feelings? It'll just come and go. And our divorces are really high because we don't understand that communication, you know, that if a man can sit with a woman's feelings, allow her to push them through, validate them. I don't understand what you're feeling, but I understand that this is true to you. And all of a sudden, she doesn't feel neurotic. She doesn't feel like she's not enough or she's too much. Okay. And all of a sudden,
because that kind of regulates her.
Yes.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the relationship, quite frankly.
Yeah. It would have allowed me to not run away from my marriage, right? Because I was just too much, right? Not knowing that it was just my uncomfortness. Right?
All right. You want to go softballs?
We gotta go. We gotta go one more before.
Okay,
I guess
okay.
we gotta be finishing up
Yeah,
here soon.
gotta
Okay.
wrap it up.
Told you that takes forever.
So
We're
good.
only
I
barely
love this
starting.
So Miriam, you mentioned your son's in sports. So this is kind of a sporting question.
Okay.
If healing was a sport,
Oh, I like it.
what would be the craziest training drill you'd make everyone do?
Lots of breath work and sitting with the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
It's a nice,
simple.
concise answer.
That's
Breath
it. Train.
work.
Breathe, and breathe.
Yeah, because it activates your vagus nerve, and I can tell you, there's just I'm sure you read Atomic.
Atomic Habits.
Was it that one maybe?
I didn't read it.
There's one of the books that I read that he talks about when he had it's called Breath by James. Wait, I can't
We'll
remember.
look it up. Don't worry about it.
So he talks about, it's a yellow book, and he talks about when this team began to, I think it was a cycling team, I might be confusing two books, but when he began to teach them to breathe in through their nose and out through their nose,
Yes.
and that's all they did. Every single one of them began to improve.
Very interesting enough. Our next guest, Erika Bryan, is going to talk about that. I know Erika from yoga. It's called, if I'm pronouncing it right, it's called Ajna breath.
Okay.
In through the nose, out through the nose, and it is not natural. But when they
Yes.
teach that in yoga, and then I use it all phases of life. By the way,
Yes.
consistently. When I go to bed, in through the nose, out through the nose, you go
That's
to
how you
sleep
fall
faster.
asleep. Yep.
It's just amazing. When like you're in a maybe a tense situation, business situation. Start breathing in through your nose, out through your nose. It just almost immediately takes the level down. I'm glad you brought that up. I know Erika's probably going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I imagine
Good.
she
This
will.
is going to be a nice little one.
Yeah,
two
cool.
punch.
Good
Right?
yeah, good segue.
I like
Yeah,
it.
because your mouth was designed to eat, your nose was designed to breathe, and we actually breathe through our mouth when we're in survival, right? We're
Don't-
gasping for air.
And you mentioned about the morning. Some people say like in the morning, if you go outside and really, there's like a formula, almost do like 10 or 15
Huberman
deep,
talks about
Yes.
all the
deep
time. Get
breaths
out
in
there,
your
get
mouth. Like
sun.
all it is
Yeah.
10 or 15 in through the nose, out through the nose, like 10 or 15 breaths, and it will set your day like.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a somatic breath work routine that I learned from. Do you know Lucas Mack?
No.
Okay, you should look this guy up.
I
He's
will.
tremendous. But it's 10, 20, 30. So it's
Oh, wow.
right 10 times and then 20 times. But in between each one, you hold your breath for as long as you can.
Yeah.
And then you take another sip when you feel like you just can't anymore.
But he doesn't do he doesn't believe the nose breath. It's
Well, he does that
No, you can
sometimes.
do that.
But
Yeah, you
this
can
somatic
release-
This
stuff.
is different.
Yes, you can
Turns-
release
The
trauma
way I
that
explain
way.
it to everybody, it's like this
Yeah.
turns the volume down.
Yeah.
In the
Well,
best
I
way.
do-
There was a
when-
good example too, by the way,
Yes,
for the
yes,
audience.
yes.
It was perfect.
Yeah,
Thank
because
you.
I do a lot of breath in through the nose and out through the mouth when I'm doing like releasing trauma, like, or like
Yeah.
I do one like weird noises also, which we didn't get to talk about. But there's so much that we do. But when they release out through their mouth, right, like or you're releasing trauma, right, because you're actually in the sympathetic activation. So, right, but then you're also activating the sympathetic and then the parasympathetic, and so it's kind of like a combination for healing. But when you want to heal the body, and that's when you do soft nose breaths. You know, there's a lot of science
Love it.
to so many. But thank you
love
for
that.
having me, guys.
I know everybody's going to want to hook up with Miriam and find out more about what she does and maybe even become, somebody that works with her. The Pride Health Institute is where you can make that happen. We'll make sure that we put a link to her in our show notes. And I love this. Get comfy in your body.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote down today.
Yeah.
That's the marching orders for everybody watching Move the
Yes.
Needle today.
Yeah,
Work
thank
on
you.
getting
Great
cozy
message.
in your
Yes,
body.
thank you. Thanks
Yeah,
for
great job
having
on the
me.
pod.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thanks
All right.
for having me. I
Everybody, we're
appreciate
going
it.
to take a break, and when we come back, more breathwork talk with her.
Yes.
I love
Erika.
that. Yes.
Hi there, my name is Mathew Blades.
And I'm Steve Petz, and together we host the YouTube and podcast series Move the Needle.
And we're reaching out to you because we're looking for incredible guests in our community who are doing just that, moving the needle. So who are you thinking?
Restaurant owners, business owners,
Yes.
educators, coaches.
Professional baseball, football, basketball, whatever, former athletes, nonprofit leaders, speakers, authors. If you're moving the needle in our community, we'd love to feature you on our podcast.
Really, if you're a person of impact, positive impact, trying to transform.
You don't want anybody
people's
with negative impact?
No negative
Okay,
impact.
that
No
seems fair.
negativity. That's the only criteria. How about that?
All right, if you're interested in being a guest on our Move the Needle YouTube and podcast series, hit the link below, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.
Well, welcome back. Segment number 3 of our Move the Needle podcast. Today, we're live at Craft 64. And again, a special thanks to Brooklyn V's, Darwin Wall Real Estate, Tutor Doctor. We can't do it without you. We're so grateful for your support.
Absolutely.
So far, man, it's been a pretty doggone good show today.
I'd say so. We teased the audience. I mean, Erika's name got invoked last segment, so
You know her.
kinda
I want
teed
you
up.
to introduce
Yeah,
her.
so I'll introduce her. So me and Erika became friends. I mean, it's been a few years ago.
been a while.
She is an amazing hot yoga instructor. And why I say amazing hot yoga instructor, what differentiates them is while you are doing the instruction, they are not just going through the poses. They are basically coaching you. I used to say it was like a therapy session. I mean, the good coaches, they will walk you through, what's going on in your life, your day, all the things we talk about kind of wrapped in a class. So, and Erika was seriously, she was tops in that. I loved her class. Early morning, she's an early morninger, so we jive on that. And so we became friends that way. And so I know in her journey, she's doing some other amazing things in the community, writing books, and I've seen her out networking and stuff like that. So anyways, that she's just she's somebody that is going to, I think we're going to find out she's a coach, somewhat of a life coach, right?
Yep,
And-
it's layered in there.
Layered
It's
in there.
layered in there.
Yeah.
Well,
And so,
she's wrapped up in something called
Yes.
the Soul Compass
that's what
Collective.
I can't remember
right
that
now.
because she
It's
just told me about
totally
that.
fine.
Thank you. I didn't write it down.
She does have a new book that we're going to talk about. She does have a planner that I want to talk about. She's a community health expert, a corporate
Yes.
wellness facilitator. She's a business consultant, an author, a mentor, a project manager,
Mom.
and a mom. Oh, how many
For
kiddos?
one, I have 2.
How old are the kids?
My daughter's almost 20,
Uh-huh.
and then my son's almost 15. Or no,
Oh.
he is 15. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cut him down, boy. He'll be like,
time I was
Mom.
taping, we were
If he
unsure.
hears this.
Okay, so I love to ask this question to people
Yeah.
like you who do a lot of things. When you're at a party and you're like, hey, I'm Erika, and they're like, oh, yeah, what do you do? How do you answer that question?
Initially, I used to say, I just teach people how to breathe.
Ah.
Because really, breathing is the root of all things.
I imagine the guest. I told you.
Yeah. So it's just that, and then we build from there. So once we can establish breath, connection, presence, you can build anything, business, relationships, and just tapping into your inner knowing too, your skills, your gifts, and it just grows from there.
I feel like right now, everybody who's watching us on the Move the Needle podcast, just notice your breath.
Yeah.
Is it shallow? Are you in through the nose and out through the mouth? Are you in through the nose, out through the nose? Like, what are you doing right now as you're watching this podcast? You could help us get centered.
And
that
I
way.
mentioned that. I will say this: Erika is one that taught me that. I don't know if I'm not pronouncing it, ajna breath, ajna, which is in through the nose, out through the nose, is not natural. I think it's learned. When I first did it, it seemed clunky is a word. Like I was
That's a
right.
good
It's
word.
just a little bit. It's learned. Is that correct?
Any pranayama, there's an intention for each of the breaths.
Okay.
And for in through the nose, out through the nose, it's ujjayi.
Usually, sorry.
So yeah, it's
Close.
ujjayi.
Come on, give me a little something. Give me a little something there.
No, that's good. So it's ujjayi, in through the nose, out through the nose, but you're also constricting the back of your throat to create that sound. So it's similar to the sound of the ocean. So there's lots of benefits through ujjayi breath. You're connected to the sound of the ocean, but if you also understand that inhale and exhale is so hum, and in Sanskrit that means I am. So if you take it into a deeper level, every breath you're taking, you're literally saying I am. So are you that thought? Are you that action? Are you that contribution? I mean, it is deep.
It is.
That is deep.
Yeah.
Woo.
So you're doing it in yoga, you're establishing that presence of I am, and then you build off of that outside of the mat, outside of the room. Who are you?
Okay. The Soul Compass Collective.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I know why you named it those things, but I'd like to hear from you specifically. Why did you choose Soul? Why did you choose Compass? Why did you choose Collective?
Well, I would say Steve is a good example of this too. I mean, as we come together, we're creating this community, this connection since the beginning, right? And in this connection through the practice, you're tapping into self, you're tapping into authentic connection. You then build authentic relationships, right? And then you tap into gifts and talent. I mean, look at what you've created, right? Since then.
Super exciting.
So I wanted to continue to bring awareness to this community. So we are a community grounded and rooted in mindfulness. We're driven by purpose, and we're committed to transformative journeys. And we're doing this through the blend of yoga, of traveling, creating amazing experiences, and then networking, being able to, again, create authentic relationship and build this community of integrity, of purpose, of sharing.
Sounds
these
so
gifts.
much fun, right? I mean, it's like, isn't that what everybody wants? I mean, it's
Right?
like,
Even if they don't know it, that's
Yeah,
what
that's
they're looking
what
for.
they want.
Okay.
So I'm changing the theme of networking too. I mean, if you notice, the theme has been let's meet at the bar, right? But that's not my style. And so I want to create more of a intentional interaction. So my new book that I just came out with, The 4 Quadrants of Networking, that one is going to be, we're coming into a healthier space. So actually the Village bought into it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so starting August, the first Friday of every month, we're going to bring the community together there, and we're going to go in through the 4 quadrants model and then have a mindful mingle. So they're called mindful mingle networking.
super nice.
That is my. I
At the
would go
Village,
to
too.
Every one of those networking meetings, because I am so over the bar meetups where we order 5 pizzas and everybody's drinking beer, and I'm like, because it's not my scene.
Right? It's not.
My scene is like, let's get on the mat.
Yes.
Let me find out why
Yes.
Steve is in this room. Let me
Yes.
find out
Learn
why
a breath.
Erika is in this room. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm interested in that piece right there,
Yes.
that collective.
And that creates such a different type of relationship
Amen.
with the people that you're doing business with. If we can all support ourselves and meet ourselves in that space, there's so much good that we can create in the community. And that's why my tagline is from soul alignment to collective action.
Okay.
Because collectively, we're going to do better. We're going to
Give me an
be better and
example
do better.
of. Sorry to cut you off. Give me an example of, a networking meetup. Like, what do they look like?
Yeah. So as we come into a space, we're going to be broken off. And there's icebreakers too. Because I know it can be a little uncomfortable,
give
a
us
little
one. Give
different.
us one.
Yeah.
Give us
one.
Yeah. So it's something simple. Like
Yeah.
you'll have a different color on your name tag. And
Nice.
that name tag, you're attached to that group. And then so you start to match up with the people that you're going to share that quadrant with. There's
love
4
that.
quadrants. One's emotional intelligence. The other one is self-development. Then we have building relationships, and the last one is a gratitude chain where we're working on that. And it's all in the book, you guys. Like,
Okay.
I even have, so say you're like, wow, I really like this concept and I really want to do this for my own networking group or my community. You can't come to Arizona or Chandler. Buy the book and start modeling off of these exercises that I have in the book. For each of the quadrant, there's exercises and tips on how to create more of an authentic connection.
So do the groups then sort of rotate?
Yes.
So if the emotional people then they're done, then you mix things up, and then now the self. Yeah.
So everyone will have a chance to hit one of the quadrants. The quadrants are not going to be long, so don't feel like you're going to have to sit there and be like, oh, I have to be here. But where you're not only going to do the quadrants, but then after, you're going to do the mindful mingle. And the Village is going to sponsor having food and infused waters. So again, we're
Wow.
staying away from the alcohol because I don't want to meet you in a space where we're not even connected to body and mind. I want to meet you in a space where you're just wanting to create something good and do something
And you're
good.
sharp. You're on it.
Intentional.
Yeah.
Intentional.
So, yeah,
Yes.
so the Village loves the concept, and we're doing that. But I'm also going to do mindful mingle activities through the community. So say there's an event where maybe you're wanting to do a fundraiser, or
Sure.
if you're wanting to do a community service project, hey, let's get the mindful mingle team and let's go support.
Love it.
Those
That's
are mindful
awesome.
mingle activities
I
that
love
we can
that.
do.
Golly, how can people get involved?
So you can follow the Instagram page, the Soul Compass Collective. You
Okay,
can also
I'll do
see
that.
me on Facebook, where we have a page now. Because this is really new as we're
Yeah.
rebranding.
So new
everything.
you were. She was like, tell me. I'm like, she's like, Steve, check this out. I was sending her this. Not here, go there. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, you just got your MBA, and so now
I
you're
did.
now you're like
Ready to
jacked
go.
to jump into all things new.
Yeah, what I learned, and I am highly like a huge advocate when it comes to education.
Okay.
So please like educate yourself. If you need resources, there are resources out there. But yes, it taught me so much, and I went to Eastern University. So what they do differently compared to all the other programs is they infuse faith integration. So you're coming into a deeper understanding of how you can make this human connection sacred. You know, so we're building on like, how do you really meet somebody, not on the surface level, not on trying to get a fast ticket or trying to like scale up your business financially and avoiding the human connection. Like, no, move all to that to the side. Like, that's going to happen. But what's really important is the human connection and what you're building in the community and the ripple effect that you're going to create. The good things.
People don't like this for one reason, the pace, right? Like some people
Want
are
it now.
so
Yes.
go. They just want the connection. They're like, hey, could we do
Yeah,
business together?
now or
Great.
now.
Here's
Move
my
on.
card.
Yeah,
I'll call you
yeah.
tomorrow.
That's not what you're about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what you're doing is slower,
opposite.
more intentional.
Let's remember why we're here.
Right.
Because really, like, the numbers, we're not going to be able to take any of the money with us or the things we could accumulate, but the memory that you create in the community and the good that you create and inspire generations to come, that's the legacy.
You know,
Okay.
Erika's really hitting on this because, obviously I was part of a lot of networking groups. I mean, for years and years. And it always kind of bugged me, just me personally, that they literally would come out and say, like, we're here. We want to make more money. It's like, you know what? I want to raise money. I really don't. I really didn't want to make, maybe if I got a piece of business here or there, I was there to create relationships because I always knew that. And that's why in my past, my businesses, why they really lasted so long is because I was interested when I met somebody, I brought someone as a partner. I wasn't interested in bringing them on for a month, or 6 months, a year. I was interested in the long haul, like the 15-year haul that I did, and that's genuine. I'm like, to do that. You got to get to know the person. You got to have common goals. There's a lot that goes into that, but you're hitting on something where a lot of these other networking groups straight out, they're just saying like money. Again, that's fine for some people if that's what you want. If you want deeper meaning in life and maybe create relationships that your business can flourish and possibly generate some revenue, maybe, well, that's kind of where it's at. I mean, honestly. And so and on that note, I actually had a question because about you mentioned about blending your different modalities, yoga, sound. I don't know. Have you put together retreats, wellness retreats? Is that something on the agenda? I had a question on that.
Yeah, Savannah Resort actually reached out to me asking me if I would do a retreat with them. So that's been out. I actually published that a couple days ago.
Oh, okay. Just so I didn't know that.
That's in the works as well. So if you're interested in doing a retreat, or if there's any organizations that like, man, I really want to build my team with this model.
What does this look like?
Can I have Erika come in and let's book a retreat with Savannah, or wherever they want, or have her come in. Like that's the momentum.
What is
corporate
Savannah?
wellness.
Talk about what is Savannah?
Savannah Resort. It's
Yes.
in Carefree.
Okay, so
have you been?
No, that's
Oh,
what I'm saying.
it's beautiful.
Okay, so here we go.
Writing it down.
So yes, Savannah Resort is in Carefree, and what I love about their structure is that when you stay with them, there is like a plethora of wellness classes that are included with your stay.
Oh.
That you
Oh,
say,
like a Mirabelle or something like that.
it's
where,
similar
like,
to
yeah.
that. And then the grounds are beautiful. They just invited me to come and do a stay there.
Ooh.
Because they renovated a lot of different parts of the resort, and absolutely stunning. Like, even if you just go and stay for a weekend or a night, I highly encourage you just feel the presence.
So you are gonna run a retreat there? Is that what? Is that scheduled?
So well, it is scheduled. It's
Okay.
for the second weekend of September.
Okay.
Yep. So if you're interested, reach out to me so we can get you in the books.
And this is you're running your whole. These are with
This
you-
is,
all-
and
you-
it's based off of the book,
okay.
the
Based on
4 quadrants
I
of
love it.
networking.
How exciting for you right now, right?
Thank
like,
you, yes.
To receive this degree, to have all this knowledge that got channeled through you, and now you're just like you're here to facilitate it.
Yeah.
Isn't that how you look at your role? Like, I'm the vessel, And now I'm
That's
just here
all
to
I am.
facilitate this.
That's all I am. And I'm hoping that this will just flow through so many people that they too will be the vessel and be able to continue to inspire communities and even family dynamics. I also published last year a book called The Mindful Moments to help build more intimate relationships. So there's 118 questions that you and your partner can build and kind of go into a deeper understanding,
nice.
like a
That
deeper
sounds
story.
cool.
There's dating activities that you can do, even a dating tracker, so you guys can see like, wow, why were we challenged this month? Oh, well, let's look at the dating tracker. Wow, we only went on 2 dates. Maybe we need to
Ooh.
revisit that.
Spice it up a bit.
Yeah. And then there's examples there too.
You guys, you're talking about books and
Yeah,
in
we
the
gotta
begin-
talk about
this,
that.
this
this
planner. So I'm intrigued. So a little history. I mean, a lot of people aren't into this. I have bought the same day planner for 30 years. I
Are
mean,
you kidding me?
I save, and I have them saved. They're it's stacked this high, literally.
So we could go back and look at 30 years of your life.
30 years of my
That's
life.
That's cool.
And by the way, I have integrated, obviously, electronics, my cell phone, but if I don't write, it goes written down first, then to electronics. So I'm so intrigued about that. I always thought it was kind of like my magic. One of my ex-partners has gone on to Dallas to become a very, very successful businessman and attributes his success to me, literally teaching him to do the planner. Because I couldn't believe he would walk in a day. He's running a company. He'd walk in. I'd be like, "What's going on?" He wouldn't even know. I'm like, I mean, now I've been doing this since high school. I'm like, what do you mean? Like I'm like at the gym, call Mathew, work out. You know, I mean, get my hair cut. Everything is written down. I mean, I don't have to think about anything. So I know my day is already. I'm so intrigued about this. So turn it over to you.
Hardcover and paperback. I
Yes.
looked this
Okay.
up online.
Yes.
I literally reached out on LinkedIn to you, and I
You
was like,
did.
"Can you please bring that to our
All right.
taping? I have got to see this in person
Okay,
because
let's do
I
it.
want to order one tonight."
Yeah. So the nice thing is, this is a 2025, and you know how you collect them, right?
Right.
So I even have it because I do too, and I'm like,
Perfect bound, baby.
I want a planner, and they look so good in the
I
bookshelf.
know that.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my 2025 intentions planner. I started it last year and it was a hit. I created it for myself because I wanted a planner where I can have something that I can plan out weekly, monthly, because that's how my brain works. Like I need to organize myself monthly and then on a weekly basis, but I also want a budget. I want a budget, and then I want a reevaluation. So there's a forum here, or one of the pages for each of the month where you actually evaluate your month. Like how was it a productive month? Each week also has a mood tracker and a to-do list. Such, you know, how did you do with that specific intention? And then here's a review where you review the month. Like how was your mood that month?
So
What
yeah,
are the
give
things
us
you-
what are these prompts here that are listed?
So what are the main highlights of the month? Okay. Things that you learned. What are you grateful for? And who are you grateful for? Like, let's break that down. This is part of the 4-quadrant model too, with the gratitude chain. How often do you reach out to the people in your community, the people you've done work with, and said, you know, that moment meant a lot to me. Thank you for being there for that moment, or thank you for doing business with me, or thank you for recognizing me on social media, or what it is. Like, how often do we do that? When you take time to create that gratitude experience for yourself and then that other person, you build a bond there. That person wants to keep you in their circle because you recognize them.
Right.
And then lastly, things to do better next month.
So areas of improvement.
Yeah.
Or opportunities.
Absolutely. And
I
then
love
we
it.
have monthly goals. And monthly goals, you're doing mind, body, and work goals.
Okay.
Yep, and then
you
you have
got
your
the big
traditional-
calendar.
And
where
just
big
you
go-
put
calendar.
down
is
all
there a
your
name for
stuff.
this? Is it a special name for this, or just call it the
It's
planner?
always going to be the year and intentions.
The year and intentions.
Yeah,
So it
it's
is-
going to be like I'm working on the 2026 version, so it's going to be 2026 intentions, and it's all about self-discovery and growth.
I
Isn't
love
cool?
that.
And there's a paperback version of this
There
too,
is a
right?
paperback, yeah.
I think I'm gonna jam on the paper.
Yeah.
I like a little flexibility. in my
flexibility. You
briefcase.
But the
Yeah.
guys like me that saves them, she's
Yeah,
like, get the hard
I
copy.
like the hard copy.
Yeah. Doesn't bend
I
over
was a
bit.
planner guy for about 4 or 5 years. Same thing, bought the same one every year, and then I don't know. I guess it was just a cell phone. It became easier to just do it there. But I don't love the calendar is not the greatest thing in the world on the iPhone or the Droid. It sucks kind of.
And there is something you're gonna for the audience. There's a name for it. I didn't know that, but I just know it's a fact. When you write something down, it gets embedded in your brain.
Anchoring
differently. Anchoring.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Anchoring.
And so
it's an exercise.
when I put stuff in my iPhone, and 20 minutes later I might forget. When I write it down, you could ask me like a month later.
Yes.
I mean, there is a difference. They say that it's integrating all the senses when you're it's your eyes, you're seeing, you're writing, and you're thinking, you're feeling. It's all the senses. And when you're kind of doing the electronics, you're not doing
I just did this presentation 2 days ago for a female hockey club, and opened up with talking to all the girls, and I said, how many of you bring your phones on the ice during the drills? And of course the answer is none, right? Like nobody brings their phone on the ice. I said, same thing goes here. For the next 2 hours, and I gave everybody a little notepad. I said, we're just going to use pen and paper, and we're going to write these things down because the science says when we write it down, we remember it.
You're a believer.
And you're
awesome.
These girls filled up their little notebooks that I gave them, and I thought it was fantastic.
They have to get back to the circling back to things. I mean, penmanship, writing. Let's get back to that stuff that, even though we have computers, we have these things. They can have their place too, but it doesn't replace these things we're talking about. It just doesn't. I mean, I can still remember my phone number from when I was a kid. 873-9193. That was my number. That's it. Call it up. I didn't tell you the zip code though. You won't get that. Yeah. But anyways, again, like that's the stuff that if you ask most kids, they don't even know.
Sure.
They don't even know. Anyways.
Listen, I don't know my kid's cell phone number, so.
Yeah. I know. Hey, I know how much time we have, but before we wrap up, I do have. I got a fun one for Erika. Okay.
I like it.
Because I know she's a creative thinker. So, if your wellness journey had a mascot, like an animal, mythical creature, or even a funky character, what would it be? And what surprising trait would it have? Think of your mascot.
I feel like it would be a blend, like a split.
Okay.
Would it be an animal?
What
it would be an animal.
What kind of animal?
It would be an animal. Like, I picture this beautiful, like, colorful, but I want, like this lion.
Colorful?
Yeah.
A lion?
Okay.
A lion on one side, and then a butterfly wing on the other side.
We might have to get somebody to draw that for you.
Yeah, I could envision it. If there's any artists out there.
Or the lion's mane, that's a peacock feathers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and what surprising trait would that your creature be? What would you have? What special powers would you give it?
Ooh, that's good.
And this could be any power, like...
Whatever you want. Your wish is my command.
I would say the power of stillness and presence.
That's exactly where my head was right now. I was
Interesting.
Like, she's going to talk
Mind
about
connection.
being still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, have you ever met somebody and you were just captivated by their presence, where it was just so still that you felt...
Yeah, like a...
You could
There's
just
not
take
many
an
people like that
exhale.
anymore. There used to be.
Yeah.
There used to be a lot of people like that. It seems like that's a dying breed, but maybe we need to come
You
back
got
on
to be
that.
the person. That's the thing,
I know.
right?
I'm. Hey,
I gotta be
if
the
I could,
person.
I could,
Everybody's gotta be the
I could
person.
achieve to be that for sure. That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
If you can.
Deepak Chopra really modeled that for
Yeah.
me. And being in his presence, it felt very much like that, where you could just sit and wait for the next word. You know, sometimes you can be listening to a presentation, you're like, okay, what's next? What, get to the next point. But with him, it was just like, even his silence spoke something.
Interesting. And I'm kind of alluding to, like, we've talked about this in the show. I'm transitioning some parts of my life where I feel like I'm experiencing this. We were talking about this maybe a little bit too much, that stillness. But I've really, more than I ever have, kind of taken it back and spent a lot of time in, I'll call it like quiet meditation, way more than I have the last 2 years. Again, like I'm starting to realize maybe I need to blend it a little bit, kind of jump in, because again, like you could go the other way too. Like you're too much stillness is no good.
Isolation.
And then you get too comfortable with it.
Yes, too much stillness is you're like a rock. I mean, you're like a
right.
stone. I mean, right? I mean, you got to be able to move. But anyways,
How do
I
people
love
get
that.
in touch with you?
Yeah.
What's the best
Instagram,
portal?
really.
Yeah.
The Soul Compass Collective, Erika Avila. I'm on there. Also, my number's on there too. But email as well, info.tsoulcc@gmail.com.
We can throw this in the show notes. We know that nobody can remember that, so we're just going to throw that in the show notes. The Soul Compass Collective.
Yes.
Erika, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank
Amazing
you.
spending time
I
with you
appreciate
here.
you guys.
Dynamite
and the work
show
you're
today,
doing.
Steve.
Yes, it was.
Well
Real-
done. Well played.
Really, in simpatico, they'd say like all the guests, from Chris, the AZ Media, talking about this, what we're talking about. Actually, he was like we need more of this, and then the guests that were doing that, and so I think we put it all together according to him.
Okay, so we're going to step out for today, but one more time, thanks to Craft 64
Yes.
for hosting
James,
us today.
thanks, James.
Thanks to Brooklyn V's. Thanks to Darwin Well Real Estate and the Tutor Doctor. We'll see everybody for episode number 47 live from Scottsdale next week.
Yes, thank you.
Take care.